In today's economy, more people than ever are looking to buy and sell businesses. But how do you do it? Welcome to the Deal Board, presented by Tworld Business Advisors. Straight talk about real deals and real people. Listen to stories, interviews, and expert advice to help your business sale, merger, or acquisition process. Now, here are your business exit experts, Andy and Jessica.
Hey, yo, welcome back, everybody. And I'm talking in my New York voice because we are going to talk about the Northeast corridor of the United States of America. It is a behemoth of a place. We had our regional meeting in New York. We had our folks down from Boston, New York, up from Philadelphia. It is a huge marketplace for everything. Right, Jessica?
Right. I mean, you have a large amount of people. I mean, we're talking, what, about 50 million residents with $3 trillion in the GDP. And what did they call it? The largest metropolis in the United States? Or, I mean, it's just a giant area and a ton of people and also small businesses.
They called it a megalopolis.
Megalopolis.
Whatever that is. That's
learned a new word today.
Exactly. It's just crazy. But it's, a huge place. Lots of small businesses, right?
Yeah, 3.5 million small businesses, according to the SBA, and also one of the strongest and healthiest growth markets in the area. So most of the states are growing at a healthy 3 to 4.5% year over year growth with an average of 4%, which is very, very strong for an economy up there.
And the Statue of Liberty is still welcoming immigrants. I mean, obviously, they're not being processed through Ellis Island anymore, but it is truly a melting pot, and people from all over the world move to places like Boston and Philly and New York, those ports of entry. It's just a huge place to do business. And you were even saying that there's like some futuristic prediction that the Northeast will be one big city someday.
Yeah, I was listening to an author on another podcast that just wrote this new book called Cities, and she was talking about how everything's just blending together. And if you've ever lived in the Northeast, like both of us have, it's pretty much one giant traffic stream from New Jersey all the way up through and north of Boston. So you could see that happening, definitely.
Yeah, and we talked to some of our leading franchisees up there again. And we talk about, what's so great about New York and Boston and, why they're doing so well. And we also talked to Jackie Frank from BNI at Manhattan. And she also has other BNIs throughout the New York region. And just if you haven't heard about BNI, you'll hear a little bit more about it today, but it's an amazing networking group. And you'll understand why that people do business in the Northeast. And, one of the things that I always want to say, that people think that New Yorkers are unfriendly or Bostonians, and it's not true. And we talked a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, hopefully everybody thinks we're pretty friendly on the podcast, and we both grew up in that area. So, you never know. But also, I think the one thing you have to keep in mind is just New York, Boston, there's just so much capital there. And it's not just Wall Street capital, but lots of capital for small businesses. We're looking at New York's the first largest startup funding capital market, and Boston's the second. So we're talking about a lot of capital for investment into businesses and also for exits and acquisitions. So today should be a good show. Hopefully it brings a lot of good learning lessons for the listeners.
Great. Let's get it going.
Tworld Business Advisors is the world's largest business brokerage and mergers and acquisitions firm with over 500 brokers in nearly 200 offices worldwide. Tworld's team handles thousands of business sales every year. To be connected with a qualified business broker or learn more about the buying and selling process, visit tworld.com/the deal board or call 888-719-9098.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. And we have a great guest today. We have Jackie Frank, who is Vice President of Mortgage Lending for Guaranteed Rate, and she could tell us a little bit more about that. But even better, she is the Director/Consultant for BNI in New York, and which she can tell you how many members they have. But, talk about a person that has a pulse on the world of New York and everything about New York. Jackie's been doing this for too long. I won't say how long, but over 2 decades, like me in the business, and she certainly has a pulse on what's going on in New York. So, Jackie, why don't you give us a little bit about yourself, and then let's jump in and talk about, what's happening in New York. Why is it great for entrepreneurs and all those kind of things?
You got it. Well, thank you, Andy. I appreciate the invite. So yeah, a little bit about me. I started in the mortgage business back when you were allowed to work when you were 13. So yeah, about 25 years ago. And about 5 years into being in the mortgage business, I found this wonderful networking group, which I really had no idea what it was, which is BNI. So I specialize in residential lending. The market here in Manhattan has had crazy highs. We have not seen crazy lows. The market in terms of buying in New York is still really moving along. It is more of a buyer's market than it had been in the past 2 years, where sellers were just naming their price.
Right.
But people are still coming in here in droves. If I tell you, on every corner, there's a brand new condominium where the square foot price, some of them are over $3,000 a square foot.
Wow.
I went with a handful of professionals recently down to the Hudson Yards, big new world that they developed down on 34th Street.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And it's amazing. The retail space they built there, the high-rise rentals, high-rise sales, this vessel. I mean, it just shows they are coming in droves. I mean, this is a high-end place, again, both for tenants and for retailers.
Yeah. So when we do business here at Transworld, and we're always talking about small business people, and I a lot of people in BNI are small business people, right?
Absolutely. So, you have your handful of people who work, let's say a financial advisor who works at a big firm. But in general, the people coming into BNI are solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, people who, like a lawyer who left a big firm and is hanging their own shingle now and is on their own. We have, everyone from, we have different spheres. Real estate is certainly, a big mover. In BNI, we have a lot of realtors and attorneys and financial advisors, but we have lots of marketing people, lots of freelance type of people who now have their own business, and they walk into the room of a BNI community where they're the only person who does what they do for a living, and they get to stand up and tell their story and ask for referrals. And the community, is based on givers gain. So if I come into the room and I open up my database, I almost said Rolodex, which would definitely date me.
Yeah.
But open up my database to you and introduce you to my friends and colleagues and clients who are in the market for your goods and services. It's a home run for everybody. I've been doing it for 18 years for my mortgage business and have been blessed in that 10 years ago, BNI asked me to also help them run chapters and start new chapters. So as I was saying, we have 1,500 business owners in BNI Manhattan. Now, Manhattan has a lot of people, but it's a very small geographic setup. If you go visit a BNI chapter in Missouri, you have to drive an hour to the next group that's also meeting. We have some groups meeting 2 and 3 and 4 groups in one location on the same day because space here is different. Right? It's not easy to get a breakfast venue, but everybody who walks in is a business owner who either started a business, franchised a business, or bought a franchise, right? And they're building it in conjunction with social media. We're not ruling it out, but there's nothing you can compare to face-to-face, on the ground networking and meeting people. It's unbelievable how I've watched people grow their businesses in BNI. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I've seen it too. We certainly encourage all of our franchisees and agents to join a BNI group. In fact, we often tell people that, just being in a BNI group is not enough. You should join a charitable board too. So we truly believe in face-to-face doing business. So tell me how business is doing in New York. I mean, like you said, it might be a little cooling off on the real estate side a little bit. I mean, the prices are still crazy, but that's opportunity for small business people, right?
Well, that's the thing, right? So on one hand, it does give you an opportunity to come here with a little bit of a softer market, certainly to get a space, a retail space or an office space, or rent or buy a home. And the craziness that was really unreachable or untouchable for a lot of people has softened a little bit. I think it's leveled off to a place where, anybody has a shot to come in here and start a business. It's a good idea, or buy one that's already doing well. And at the same time, if it's your time to say, you know what, let me move out of here, I still think you're going to get your numbers. So I think the activity here, though it does, real estate does move the market here a little bit.
Sure.
The market's still moving. I mean, I have a lot of relationships with realtors, obviously, because of what I do. And yesterday, Sunday, a beautiful sunny day, the open houses were on fire. I went to a few of them, and the places are crowded. People are out. I really think the sun just moved everybody out of the house and and it's moving here. There's no question. There's no place like it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no place like New York, of course. I mean, so, and what are you seeing out in the boroughs? I mean, obviously, they're blowing up too. Like Brooklyn's untouchable almost now too, right?
Brooklyn is untouchable. I mean, if you ask a broker or even someone who's living in Brooklyn or has a business there, it is still really untouchable. And at one point, I actually had a client who went out with a broker to buy in Brooklyn, and after 6 months, realized they couldn't afford Brooklyn and then bought in Manhattan.
Wow.
So Brooklyn has really, and it's now going further and further out. So further south into Brooklyn where, of course it was walk right over a bridge, and in Park Slope or Dumbo or anything, Williamsburg, it was untouchable. But now Crown Heights and even further out, people who are in Bay Ridge. I have a friend who went to, buy a one-bedroom co-op on Flatbush. I mean, I grew up near Flatbush, Avenue many moons ago. And to find out that it's $500,000 for a one-bedroom co-op, and the businesses that are around there thriving.
Right.
It's because all these people are moving there, and now we have to service them.
Yeah. And
whether it's a dry cleaner or the dog walker or the local market, whatever.
Yeah, so there's lots of opportunities for entrepreneurs and lots of and you know what? I always say this to people, as opposed to maybe 20 years ago when it was really tough as a small entrepreneur to get your word out. You mentioned it before. Networking groups and social media has really kind of, not leveled the playing field, but given the opportunity for small entrepreneurs to kind of, take their piece of the pie out there.
Absolutely. I do think, level the playing field is really a good way of saying it, because we have a young guy in our group who just helps people with their Facebook ads, and the cost to hire someone to do it for you, if it's not, something that you're skilled at, it's pennies, right? And
Right.
even if you're paying for the ads, it's pennies for the value per lead, right? So now you have, you have these face-to-face things, and it's not only B&I, there are meetups and there are chamber meet. There's so many networking opportunities where maybe it's $20 to go to an event, and you could meet that one person who's going to change your business. So that combined with the social media piece, it really has made it much easier for the individual solopreneur to get their feet wet and get into business and really, make headway.
Yeah, so there's plenty of opportunities out there in New York, and even New York's trying to be a little bit friendlier about doing business with, entrepreneurs, right?
Absolutely. No question about it. I mean, I think that, for lack of a better word, it is sort of a perfect storm in terms of what's happening for opportunity. So our interest rates have softened.
Sure.
Right? The prices here have gotten a little softer. And certainly there I see a lot of retail availability. I mean, we're not talking about competing with the big box stores, but, there is a lot more opportunity, and, they want business here. So New York is trying to make it a more friendly place to come in and, hang your shingle and start, to do business here. So I think it's a great time.
Yeah.
Better than even when it was so hot that you really couldn't touch it.
Yeah.
And
No.
only the very, very wealthy could come here. It's not like that.
Yeah, no, it's, and it, listen, and there's nothing better, more diverse. I love places that are diverse, right? So, diversity is, people immigrating to New York, diversity in industry. And of course you have an incredible arts based, my daughter's trying to break into the arts in New York. So I am an investor in the New York economy right now. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, so but it's all good. It's a lot of young people, right?
Oh, totally. And it doesn't matter what neighborhood. You can start off in a neighborhood, I'm on the Upper West Side where, typically you could find families on one corner and then you could find the hipsters over there. I mean, the diversity here is amazing. I mean, we have, it's probably going on everywhere, but we do these shared rides, not just the straight Ubers, but where we're sharing those rides with other people. So I bop around the city for a flat fee every day, and I get in a car, and there could be anybody in there. And I'm meeting people from all different industries, all different age groups, people doing all sorts of businesses, inviting them to BNI. Do you need a mortgage? Do you want to come? It's like there's so much activity here from every level. I'm seeing kids at 19, 20, really involved and already doing business. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Really is.
So let's talk about networking for a second as we wrap this up, because I know it's a passion of yours and a passion of mine as well. And listen, the gig economy seems to be continually growing, right?
Yeah.
And networking is a huge part of that. So I'll let you do your PSA for BNI about why entrepreneurs must be in a group. I talk about it all the time, but I want to hear from the source.
Yeah, there's no question about it. You walk in the door, you've just started a business, and BNI is very friendly with respect to, okay, you could be starting a business that is brand new for you, right? But we're going to check your references. We're going to make sure that somewhere along the line you have experience doing what you're doing, or at least prior to that you've got your feet wet somewhere, and you're walking into a room of friendly professionals who want to see you succeed. And based on the structure, again, of giver's gain, I'm coming in there to help you. You're coming in here to help me, because we're all coming in here to help each other. So imagine the concept. I went to my meeting this morning where you get to walk into a room. I invited someone today who was in a seat that we don't even have. He's a private jet broker. You want to fly private, this guy will get you a seat on a plane, right? And so he doesn't own a plane, but that's what he does. He got to stand up in a room full of people, 65 people he never met before. Cost him $25 for breakfast and the opportunity to talk 30 seconds about what he does and who he wants to meet. And 3 people in there, they don't want to fly private, but they know people who do, or they know people who know people who do. So it's like the Kevin Bacon game, right? If you put 64 people in the room, there's 5,000 connections in there.
Wow.
Right? 5,000 connections. People have got really smart. What do they do before they come to the meeting, Andy? They go onto LinkedIn, and they look for who they want to meet. And then they look at who in the group has a connection to someone with that title. So maybe you want to meet, maybe you're a marketing guy and you do social media marketing and you want to meet advertising people. So you go onto LinkedIn, you put in that category, you see 10 people in the chapter who know John Smith, right, through 2 degrees of separation. You stand up in the room and you say, does anybody here know John Smith from ABC Media? And you see 10 people go, I do.
Wow.
And so social media plus the face-to-face, because listen, you can't just Facebook connect with somebody, right? And then expect they're going to give you business.
Nope.
No credibility there, right? So BNI takes the visibility, the credibility, and turns it into profitability. But then you use all these other things, and if you're really using all the tools it's a very low cost of entry here, and with such amazing ROI with making these relationships. I mean, look how you and I met, and there are so many people that I have met through just walking into the door of a group of people who are all like-minded. They're on their own, they're commissioned, they're self-employed, they just bought a business, and they need to grow. And everybody in the room is looking for the same thing with no competition, Andy, right? So you walk into a BNI room and you're the only person who does what you do. It's simple.
It's a great deal.
And it's in 80 countries.
Right. It's a great deal. And with that, we are going to wrap it up. But I want to end that, New York is a great place. I did grow up in the greater New York area, and New Yorkers want to help New Yorkers. And so New York is a great place to do business. And that's what we were here to talk about today. Jackie, thank you so much for being on today. How can people get in touch with you if they either want to join BNI or they want a mortgage for their beautiful new place that they're going to buy?
Oh, terrific. Easiest way, just take my cell phone. You can text me or call me 917-405-6661. And anytime, whether it be for B&I or mortgages, happy to help.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you, Andy. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Andy, you know what time I think it is? I think it's time to talk about our deal of the week.
Deal of the week.
Welcome back, everybody. And today for our deal of the week, we have Aaron Fox joining us from our Tworld Business Advisors office in North Boston. Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jessica. It's good to be back on the show.
So I know you recently had a deal in the landscaping industry closed up in your region. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that transaction?
Sure. This was one of those great deals that we always talk about, the bringing good buyers and good sellers together. We had a fun landscaping business that had been an owner-operator business for the past 20 plus years and was in a position that they were really looking for a manager buyout. And the manager had been with him and had built this business and was looking at it, and he's saying, you know, I like my team, I like what we do, I just don't know if I can work for somebody else. So he had that entrepreneurial spirit. So it was his first acquisition he was looking at, and he was coming into it very green, but he was a absolute ideal candidate to own this business.
And tell us a little bit about how the financing came together, because sometimes with manager buyouts, that can be a little bit challenging.
Oh, yeah. Anytime we all hear manager buyout, we know it's going to be a challenge because you're looking at it that the manager has an active role in it, and that key employee has a salary, so he's generating income from his position. So that's a cost on the expenses in the balance sheets. And if he's moving up in the ladder, is he going to have to replace himself? So the financing companies, they always take an extra look at these steps. So this one, we're looking at it as this was purely going to be an SBA deal. It was a situation where the manager had not fully planned to really do this, didn't know that this opportunity was going to come up. So he had not been putting away the savings to really be in position that, all right, I'm going to put 20, 30% down and I'm ready to roll. He was a little blindsided and excited about the opportunity. So we jumped right into that with introduction to some key SBA lenders.
Great. So it sounds like it was still like an ideal transaction with the ideal candidate. Obviously, he had, a lot of knowledge and experience with the business. So tell us a little bit about the numbers. What was the final sale price and what was the multiple or SDE that we received on that business?
So the final sale price, it did involve business and property. So the final sales price came in at $1.75 million. And of that, about 30% was on the property. But for tax planning purposes, we obviously, made that property very strategic with the buyer. And we were able to leverage that a little bit with the SBA when the appraisals came back to give them a longer term on the loan. So it made it a much more capital-friendly deal than we initially thought we were structuring. So the SDE looking into the deal was, it was coming in at about $350, $375, just with the various add-backs that were going through that the owner was currently running.
Great. Well, it sounds like a good deal. Congratulations and best of luck to the buyer.
Thank you. And he's very excited, and he was very positive about all of the introductions that we were able to make for him. And I'm really glad that we were able to do a good deal for to really good people.
Awesome. We'll talk to you soon, Aaron. Thanks for joining the show again.
Thank you, Jessica.
Welcome back, everybody. Today, as you know, we're talking about the Northeast economy, and I want to welcome Jennifer Fox, the president of Tworld Business Advisors North Boston, back to the show. Jennifer, thanks for joining us again.
Hi, Jess. Thank you for having me.
So, Jennifer, tell us a little bit about your office and also what's going on in the Boston economy right now.
I would say the economy here in Boston is still continuing to grow. We have ready, willing, and able buyers that are looking for good businesses to purchase here in Boston. We had a really busy start to 2019, and nothing was stopping buyers and sellers from getting deals done. Closings still happened during the government shutdown, and we even had one take place in the hospital room.
Wow.
We had motivated parties. Yeah, it was very interesting. So needless to say, we had motivated parties involved and a help of an innovative team here at Tworld North Boston to help make things happen.
Well, that's great. I mean, it sounds like a great start to the year. Something interesting that you and I were talking about is that, about half of your sales right now are franchise resales. Tell us a little bit about that and why franchises are such a great opportunity in the Boston area.
Well, I would say that really one of the big reasons that half of our resales are franchises is this has to do with me personally, that I'm extremely passionate about the franchise system. And this, I truly believe that stems from being a Tworld franchisee myself and seeing firsthand how a franchise system model works when you have the support of a fantastic franchisor and are surrounded by successful franchisees, just like yourself, Jessica.
Well, thank you.
Well, one way to really point this out of why they really work is I just sat down with a buyer who was all over the place and wondering what was, or thought she knew what was the perfect business for her. But something that stood out to me is she mentioned that she was doing this all alone by herself, had no partner, no husband, no kids, and wanted something that was easy to manage, and that if something went wrong, she could handle on her own. But as you know firsthand as a business owner, nothing goes as planned and there's no help desk. You're in charge of finding the solution. So I had this aha moment with her. Why don't you look at one of our franchise resale opportunities? These are great. Solution for someone who's a first-time buyer, or if you're doing it by yourself, because you're never alone. You have the support of the franchisor. They provide you training and ongoing support. You do have someone to help us. You have a model, systems in place. You have your brand name, your existing market presence. There's so many things that I can go on and on why these are great opportunities for someone that is really looking for a little help and just is that first-time buyer that really just needs some support to keep it going.
Wow. Well, you can definitely tell, Jen, that you're super passionate about this market, and I can't disagree with you. I think there's great opportunities in the franchise arena, especially with the resales, because there's existing revenue and existing net profit in the businesses already. So yeah, great opportunities in Boston. Well, great. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for sharing your insights in the Boston market and joining us again on the Deal Board.
Hey, Jessica, you know what time it is?
Money time?
Almost. It's time for Listing of the Week.
Welcome back to the show. And we have Jennifer Fox with us again from the Tworld North Boston office to share a listing of the week with us. Jennifer, welcome back, and tell us a little bit about this business you have for sale.
Jessica, for having me again. We have a really exciting opportunity in Boston for you. We have a master franchise resale opportunity in the realty business. It is an opportunity that currently has 20 franchisees. There are 325 agents throughout these offices. The listing price is $775, and they're making $200,000 in royalties. It's a great opportunity for any one that it has a realty office right now or is in this type of business and is looking to expand and grow.
Wow, well, that sounds like a great business for sale and a unique one, not something that comes on the market all the time. So if buyers are interested in learning more about this listing, how can they get in touch with you? They
can go to our website at tworldma.com or give me a call directly at 978-286-8922.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, and thanks for sharing the listing with our listeners.
Thank you.
Hey, we're back. And we are with probably one of my favorite people of all time, Eric Straus, who is our Transworld Business Advisors of Manhattan, New York, whatever you want to call it. Eric's been with us almost since the beginning. He runs it. He's an incredible entrepreneur. He could tell you a little bit more about that when he jumps on right now. But New York is such a dynamic place. There is certainly a lot of growth. I am overlooking the Hudson Yards right now. There's an incredible amount of people moving down there. It's certainly a great place to do business. And if you're looking to buy or sell a business, Eric's the guy to do it. So Eric, why don't you jump in and give us a little update about what's going on around there?
Thanks, Andy. Well, the thing that I'm most excited about right now is, over the years, it has not been uncommon for landlords to mess up deals. And I think that because of the retail environment being a little bit challenged now, and because there's so much new square footage being added in retail, Hudson Yards being one good example, there are a lot of empty stores in the city, and landlords are going to have to start to get a little more realistic. So when we bring deals, when we bring a buyer in, I'm already seeing landlords starting just to be more realistic and more helpful and less of an a-hole than they've been in the past. And so it's really sort of nice doing business here. We have an incredible amount of buyers coming at all times. It's remarkable the number of E2 visa applications and those sorts of buyers that we have. It really is a great and exciting place to do business.
Yeah, so we see a lot of people coming to the United States, and certainly New York is the melting pot. So, what are you seeing as far as lending and, the ability for sellers to sell their business? It's a good time, right?
Absolutely. Well, the first thing is we try to convince sellers that they really need to do half down and half in a seller note. That's the way to list the business. But we are finding if the books are good, that there is financing out there. We can get SBA notes. Buyers can buy for 10% down. Again, if the books are good of the businesses being sold.
So Eric and I both have kids that are just coming out of college, and I've been recently talking about that. I'm seeing a lot of the kids and some of the young, millennials who are getting older, looking to buy businesses. There's tons of opportunity. I'm always fascinated by people spend $250,000 on a college education, and then they hesitate spending $100,000 on a business. Don't you think a business is a great opportunity for young people these days, especially in New York?
Absolutely. I think that a lot of kids, well, I shouldn't call them kids, I guess. A lot of millennials, I think, are not loving the corporate world that we all grew up in and are looking for opportunities outside of that. We just interviewed a guy who's looking specifically for gyms, and he's very aggressive. Went out to see 5 gyms we have listed. And I think he's about to make an offer on one of them. And this kid is 27 years old. And he's going to be buying it with help of a loan and some money from dad. And he's very motivated. And we're seeing more and more of that every day.
Yeah, and we're seeing that too. And even with people that have money in the markets, and they might think the market might go sideways over the next few years, this is an opportune time for people to invest in a business. So, and you've been an entrepreneur over the years. So, what's your best advice to someone who's thinking about first-time entrepreneur, or, what get them over the hump?
Well, what's the expression? Paralysis analysis, or analysis to paralysis, or whatever. I mean, as an entrepreneur, you have to just take the lead. Find something that you like, find something that's priced appropriately, and take the leap. We do have buyers that just can't pull the trigger because they're looking at every little thing has to line up perfectly. And it's just not the way life works. If it's good, if there's an opportunity there, it's not going to be perfect. You just need to jump in. And the buyers that do that are often successful.
I always tell the buyers, I said, listen, you're not buying something for the rest of your life. We're here. Transworld can sell it for you as well. We certainly have sold multiple businesses for multiple people. You've been an entrepreneur over and over again. You're a great resource to have. How best can people get in touch with you if they want to do business here in New York?
Thanks, Andy. It's E. Straus, E like Eric Straus, Straus at tworld.com or 917-719-5920. you have a business to sell, we would love to list it for you. I have a great team here. And, New York has a huge universe of buyers that are always looking, and we'd love to take care of it.
Thanks for coming on today. Hey, we're back with Tom Gesimondo from Tworld Business Advisors of Brooklyn. And things are just crazy in Brooklyn. I mean, if you haven't been to Brooklyn lately, Brooklyn's the new Manhattan, I think. So Tom has been in this business for a while. He's been in a lot of different businesses. He's a very interesting guy. And he's going to give us a little bit of update of what he's seeing out there in the market in Brooklyn. Tom, welcome.
Hey, it's good to be here. And you stole my line about Brooklyn being the new Manhattan. Absolutely true. It is a destination. It is a destination location. It's an exciting time. You've got so many young people in the community, but you have the established businesses, the moms and the pops that have been there for 25, 30 years. They're looking to move on. Their kids may or may not be interested, but they're out there seeking, people to hand their legacy onto. They're proud of what they've done. They built a wonderful community, and they want to give it to the right person. By the same token, there's a buzz about the community. It's a destination location, and there's a lot of exciting, creative businesses out there that are just having so much fun and learning so much dealing with these entrepreneurs.
So again, you talked about it, that there's older people getting out and younger people getting in. Are you seeing the young people coming to Brooklyn? I mean, I'm saying that kiddingly because it's a crush, right?
It's crazy. At times it does make me feel older. So that's a little crazy. But the excitement certainly reminds me of, Manhattan down in the Village years ago. I mean, it's vibrant and it's diverse. It's very exciting.
So there's, certainly a lot of, I think the problem with Manhattan sometimes is, people have gotten priced out of the marketplace. There's still opportunities in Brooklyn, right?
There's a lot of opportunities there. What we've seen is kind of interesting. It's so everybody seems to want to be in the coffee business. They want to be on the corner. And we're seeing a lot of these businesses such as that start out in Brooklyn with one location, and then they go to two locations. And we happen to be dealing with a gentleman now. He's just opening his third location in Manhattan. He's thinking of selling. We're kind of having great conversations with him. Is he going to sell now? Is he going to grow it out into a franchise, or is he going to continue to build it store by store? But he got his feet wet in Brooklyn, and now he's making the step into Manhattan.
And I think what's different than Manhattan sometimes with Brooklyn is that you still have those industrial businesses or those services businesses still there where people can make a lot of money.
Literally, I was walking down the block for a listing meeting, and on the left side of me is residential that reminds me of the community of Queens that I grew up in. And on the right side, the industrial that you were just mentioning, manufacturing businesses, distribution businesses, again, a great diversity there as well. And a change in the community. And that change, while sad on one side of the equation, it brings about opportunity. These businesses are ready to be handed over to somebody with a new vision and ready to grow them to the next level.
So, Tom, if someone wants to get in touch with you in the great state of Brooklyn, as they would say, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Sure. Always answering my email. That's tomg@tworld.com. And if you want my cell number, it's 973-903-9931. We'd love to have the conversation.
Thanks for tuning in to our show today. If you like the podcast, don't forget to subscribe through your favorite podcasting app and leave us a review. If you have questions or suggestions for the show, visit us at tworld/thedealboard or email us at thedealboard@tworld.com.